So by the way, on number 3 here, this is not a trick question. There shouldn't be two different letters. So pick n or p, it doesn't matter to me. I'll just go with n. So 3n squared minus 8n plus 4. So it's definitely not going to be a p, n, and n at the same time. Let's go ahead and factor that one real quick as our last example. I'm going to do 3 times 4. That gives me 12. And then you start to list your factors of 12. Let's do 1 and 12, 2 and 6. You're like, oh, I got it, Crouch. And you go with 2 and 6. And then right now, if I go with 2 and 6, you should see some alarm bells going off. There should be something wrong. And you're like, well, why? Because 2 plus 6 is 8. Yeah, but not negative 8. It's supposed to be a negative 8. So it's not that 2 and 6 are wrong. 2 and 6 are not wrong, it's just they're not completely right. So it's not 2 and 6, it's actually negative 2 and negative 6. So anytime you have the right numbers but you have the wrong sign, you probably just need to change your signs. So let's jump in, rewrite my polynomial. So 3n squared minus 2n minus 6n plus 4. Okay? So just separate that there. Divide it down the middle. And be careful. I've seen people do this in the past where divide it down the middle and they just cross right through that minus sign. You might even still be able to tell since I'm using different colors, but when you're using a pencil or a pen, you're not going to be able to tell. So be really careful not to cross through that minus sign. That can cause an issue here in just a second. Now I'm going to do my division like we've been doing. Only thing that 3n squared and negative 2n have in common is a positive 1n. And then when we get to this one, really important, you haven't actually been thinking about it this whole time, but it's been happening behind the scenes. You might say, well, the only thing that 6n and negative 6n and 4 have in common is a 2. You'd be right, but you'd still be wrong. So I want you to think back to elementary school when you were the line leader in elementary school. The line leader was the person who got to go at the front of the line, right? And that front of the line person kind of directed the rest of the class. They were the ones who kind of led the way. So when we look at a GCF, you actually are following the line leader. This was a positive n because this 3 was positive. You didn't realize it, but that's what was happening. I'll go back to another one. This was a positive because this one was positive. This was a positive because that 3 was a positive. This one was a positive because that 2 is positive. This one was a positive because that 6 was positive. So if those are all following that, then this can't just be a 2. This can't be a positive 2 because it's got to follow the line leader. So it's not a positive 2, it's a negative 2. All right, it's got to follow the line leader. So in this case, this is a negative 6, so it's got to be a negative 2. So be careful of that. That's a big mistake that students make. So let's keep rolling. The GCFs go out front. So 2 sets of parentheses. Notice it's a negative 2 out front. We go ahead and divide. You get 3n minus 2. And then you start to look here and go, okay, well, be careful. Negative divided by negative. Negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. N stays the same. And positive divided by negative is negative. So negative 2. So good. We got the same thing in both binomials. So now you end up with n minus 2. That's my first binomial. These two GCFs together. And then the repeat binomial, 3n minus 2 as well. Okay? So that's something to watch out for. Anytime this term right here is negative, you've got to follow the line leader. Okay? Follow your line leader. Because if you don't, the whole thing falls apart. One more thing to look out for. Have fun, keep practicing, get as many of these done as you can.